My name is Denise Durson. I'm editorial director of Professional Builder magazine, and it is my pleasure to introduce our next panel of speakers. The panel will be called 40 Under 40, Next Gen Perspectives, and I'm going to introduce our moderator for that panel. On my right, Bob Borson. Architect Bob Borson, FAIA, is widely recognized as the blogger behind Life of an Architect, one of the world's most popular architectural blogs. As an emerging voice within the architectural community, he has bridged the gap and engaged multiple generations of architects and architectural enthusiasts by sharing his personal experiences, professional practice tips, and anecdotes on what it's like to work with and be an architect. Bob was recognized by the Dallas AIA as Young Architect of the Year in 2009, received the Award for Excellence in the Promotion of Architecture through the Media from the Texas Society of Architects in 2015, and was elevated into the American Institute of Architects College of Fellows in 2017. Today, he is Associate Principal and a Senior Project Designer at BOKA Powell. Please welcome Bob Borson.
Thank you, Denise. Hi, everyone. So we're going to have a not too long of a chat today, but we have three people on the panel up here with me. I'm going to start with my immediate left, Seth Hart. This is Seth. Seth has more than 16 years of experience on a wide variety of architecture and planning projects. He is a talented designer with a great background out of Southern California's high-end production housing and resort living industry. Seth brings a fresh perspective and a passion for lifestyle living and modern design with a focus on integrated design, and has led teams from project visioning through construction. Seth's main area of focus are in the community amenity buildings, single-family, multifamily, resort housing, and urban infill. The past 9 years working at DTJ Design's multi-discipline firm specializing in landscape architecture, planning, and residential architecture has influenced Seth to bring a multi-dimensional perspective to his projects that goes beyond just architecture. So welcome, Seth. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sounds like someone must have given you my bio.
Yes. All right, to Seth's left is Tessa Smith. So many S's on our panel today. Tessa Smith is a principal and architect at Artisans Group, a Pacific Northwest sustainable architecture and design firm, three-time award winner of PHI-US Young Project by a Young Professional, and winner of the 2017 Best Single Family Project. Her work is built throughout the Pacific Northwest. Tessa is a national award-winning architect specializing in building science and sustainability, co-principal of the Pacific Northwest design firm Artisans Group. She has designed some of the most energy-efficient homes in America, and her work in sustainable design is featured in books on passive house and prefab architecture. Welcome, Tessa.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Thanks for coming. All right, and to Tessa's left, our last introduction is Michael Freiburger. Michael is an award-winning designer and an innovator who brings a rare and valuable holistic approach to the AEC industry. A career that spans 20-plus years combining construction experience with an undergraduate degree in civil engineering and a Master of Architecture, Michael has designed and led projects across almost all construction types, from high-rise mixed-use to education to single-family. Always maintaining an architecture-first mentality, Michael focuses on design, build, project delivery, streamlining the process with one point of contact, taking full responsibility and cost accountability. Michael currently owns NEWLOOK Design, Build, and Development in Chicago, a vertically integrated family-owned company where he is Director of Design for luxury residential and commercial projects. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so we're going to get into our panel now, and we have a series of questions that we've been working through. The panel and I have actually met a few times to kind of talk through this. And I want to start off just by asking everybody, what are you currently working on? So Seth, can we start with you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm out of Boulder, Colorado. I work for a company by the name of DTJ Design. We're an architecture, landscape, and planning firm. And I focus mainly on residential design and community amenity. So what I'm currently working on right now is actually some amenity buildings, which for us in the more production housing world is a lot of fun because they tend to be more of a custom home for the production world, if you will. So got a few of those going on right now with some different builders and enjoying that process. And then some nice innovative design with regards to density solutions, townhomes, cottage lot products. So some fun with the single family production world as well.
Tess, how about you? What are you currently working on?
Well, I own an architecture and planning firm near Seattle, and we are currently under construction for a couple of prefabricated certified passive houses that are custom homes. So that's always really fun. We're also doing quite a bit of commercial work, multifamily, and a lot of hospitality work. So we do a lot of award-winning coffee shops, restaurants, bars, things of that nature. And then right now, I think probably what I'm most excited about is we have partnered with 3 local cities near where my firm is located. And they are the first cities in the state of Washington to provide free ADU plan sets to their constituents. So we got hired to do that, and we designed them. They're energy efficient, they're simple to build, they're small. And now we have more cities contacting us who want to purchase them as well. And so you can walk in as a citizen and say, I want to build an ADU. And they'll just hand you a pre-certified, pre-permitted little plan set, and away you go.
For those that don't know, an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit, and it normally is a secondary building on a structured lot that is not the main structure for that lot. So, Michael, how about you? What are you up to these days?
Yeah, so we are a design build firm in Chicago and on the North Shore, and right now we're focusing a lot on luxury residential projects. We kind of are all across the residential market. We have a 6-unit condo that's under development right now, right on the North Shore. We have, moving a little bit more to the CES world, small production. We've got a 28-unit home development coming on the North Shore, which is the largest of its size in the past 20 plus years, really. And then one of the projects we're most excited about is we have a partnership with Professional Builder Magazine, where we're building a showcase house with them, an opportunity to illustrate, the most progressive architecture locally, and opportunity to work with vendors on true collaboration, getting their expertise at the beginning of a project, and kind of following that through from start to finish. And what does that look like, and kind of an experience for everyone following along in the magazine.
Okay, so I wouldn't let Seth. I'm going to jump in with you here. Your focus has been in the housing market, and you have green building awards from both Professional Builder, PCBC, and NAHB, among others. Can you talk about the value that good design brings to the production housing market?
Yeah, with the regards to the Green Building Awards, we were very fortunate to work with a home builder by the name of Thrive Home Builders out of Denver, and they're kind of leading the industry in green building and green design. And so we got to partner up with them for a series of homes in the Denver market, and that was actually kind of an introduction for me and a great learning experience. And so with regards to design of the home, I got to really learn a lot of different things about how we do the exterior walls, the staggered stud, 9-inch thick exterior walls, and different things like that to achieve the net zero that we got for those homes. And as far as I forget the second part of that question, but it was, with regards to just good design for production housing, I think that's kind of obviously inherent, no matter whether it's a green building or just a traditional home, in the sense that, the interesting part of production housing is you're really trying to design for a mass appeal versus, in the custom world, you get to do these really unique features that really cater to a single buyer. But in the production realm, we're trying to create mass appeal and, really trying to hone the design into something that anyone that can go in there and really appreciate it.
Well, you and I had a chat, and this will segue to you in a moment, Tessa, but you and I had talked about the kind of how you amenitize a house from a sustainable standpoint that appeals to a broader marketplace, that one of the selling points is how the building is built. And we had talked about solar.
Yeah.
So can you just elaborate a little bit about some of the things you're incorporating in your work?
Yeah, so with those, like I kind of said, we had the staggered stud double 2x4 exterior wall, and that got it. I can't exactly put the R value on that, but and then the triple pane windows, we came solar ready. We're working with Tesla to create the battery walls on those, and so there's just a lot of features, the no VOC, no off-gassing flooring and carpeting and things of that nature. So, but the interesting part about that with regards to production housing is you're still having to educate a buyer on that product. And it's not so much a buyer coming to you always anyway, looking for that in a home, but it's as people come to look at a model home when you're right next to another builder not doing any of those things, how to educate the buyer and make them well informed so that they see the value in that and can justify the extra cost.
Tessa, that actually leads into a good point for you, because I know you're very passionate about passive house design, and clearly some of the things that Seth is doing is bringing to the mass market this idea of sustainable design and how you can get a better product that's built financially, makes sense. Would you, as an advocate for passive house, could you talk a little bit about why you think it makes sense financially to build sustainably, and why you think it makes for a better product?
Yeah, I think, early in my career, I did a lot of lead and a lot of really, I would say, high-tech construction. And I would say passive house, probably you have learned very similar things, is very much the keep it simple, stupid of, construction. So you're really going to invest in the shell, and you're going to make an airtight structure. You're going to have an air exchange system like an HRV or an ERV. You're going to have better windows and doors, thicker assemblies. And when you get to that point, your mechanicals actually get pretty small and pretty inexpensive. You're not paying for a $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 HVAC system anymore. And that's all sort of the science of it and the economics of it. And the economics look very good. But I would say sort of the second half of the question is really a marketing question, right? Because everything I just said is how we do it. And that's, of course, what we're all interested in. Maybe everyone here too, but your client is not, I don't think, as interested in how we do it. I think the client is interested in the direct feedback to their lifestyle. And so I've seen this sort of tweak in how we approach people and how we try to, convey this idea that if we make it more about health and comfort and lifestyle, and you can come home and kick off your shoes, you can be barefoot, you can be bald and not wear a hat, you can, the anecdotal things that clients say, I can hold my cat more, my allergies don't bother me. It sounds silly, but I think those things are more material in the conversation than maybe is anticipated.
Well, I definitely know that there's some interest in clients, while they, and the general public at large, is kind of slow to embrace some of these emerging technologies. There is a group of people that they are interested in how it makes a difference and how it can improve their lives. Michael, I wanted to ask you, I know that your firm has embraced technology, and you and I talked a little bit about this offline. So can you talk about how your firm has embraced technology, and have you realized the benefits for incorporating technology into your work in the manner that you hope to?
I would say, starting with the latter question, it's a work in progress, right? We have to continue to, implement and try it out. But we have embraced technology as much as we possibly can, and it comes from the design side first. We design last year we made a commitment to design everything in full 3D. And we design it not just for the client's sake, because they can understand it better. Being a design build firm, it truly makes an efficiency for us to be able to pass down a model that has all of the data already built in, right? So takeoffs right at the fingertips. The 3D model then gets turned into a BIMX model, and I actually was showing some people some of the projects on the iPad today. My superintendent doesn't even have a set of drawings on site anymore. They use a full BIMX model that is interactive, interchangeable between 3D views, takeoffs, full wall constructions, understanding the technology behind it. And we take that a step further as well. We actually have turned that into virtual reality of spec homes, AR of spec homes. In the last year, we tried out a concept of actually selling a home only off of digital assets, right? So marketing it like it's a completely built home.
Show off.
Well, the part I'm excited about is that it worked, and we did go under contract for the first one.
I will say we're using BIM as well, too, though. That's an interesting overlap between our efforts. I imagine, are you guys?
Oh yeah, we went
Yeah.
full Revit and full BIM, and we've been absolutely going down that path.
It makes it so much easier for everyone to understand, and I truly believe it's a more efficient way of actually designing projects. If you're using it correctly, it's not lines on paper anymore. Every decision means something, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So, Michael, let's stick with you for a minute. I'm going to ask a question that I'd like all three of you to answer, but let's just start with you, Michael. So, is there anything about the current construction market that excites you? I mean, I know we've just been talking about a handful of things, but either here's an opportunity to elaborate or interject some new considerations for us.
I would say the state of the industry, and that people all around it, young and old, are finally saying we need to shake things up a little bit, right? We can't continue to build homes, whether it be, sort of passively or just in general means and methods in our current climate, the same anymore, right? We can't continue to build the same process from 200 years ago, right? Let's use some technology. Let's think outside the box. Let's, try all, of these different means. Let's explore green technology. Let's explore more controls. So I think that I believe or want to believe that the industry is finally ready to take a step. And I think that's the first step, is that people are actually open to ideas.
Well, and we're seeing a lot of buildings come to the end of their lifespans, which I think is, deeply influencing the industry right now. And we're seeing a rise in people be aware of buildings making them sick. We're seeing a rise in asthma in children and things like that, and they're directly linking that to the fact that we spend 90% of our lives indoors.
Yeah, and to add on to what you were saying, Michael, is I think everyone's been beating the drum for a decade, 2 decades about it. The industry's got to change. It's the oldest, tiredest industry in the nation, and I think that there's some exciting things with regards to modular and just different ways to start building and how we're going to do that and how we overcome some of the obstacles is obviously a challenge. Delivery distances, things like that for modular. It's still yet to be determined. I know that everyone's working hard to get there. It's just what's going to be the final, kind of key that unlocks the lock on that. So.
And I do think that we all have to be willing to take chances, though, right? That's what it's about. Try something new, give it a chance. Try to invent, a technique, right?
I'm flying in full panels for a passive house next week, so talk to me then.
Have the three of you had, I mean, I can answer this question for myself, but part of what we're doing as architects and designers on these projects is it's sort of our responsibility to push the envelope on how we do certain things. Since you all are from various areas of the country, have you found either any sort of resistance from the construction industry and the contractors you've worked with to embrace some of the things that we're trying to get people to do?
I don't think we're getting that from builders, contractors, things like that. It's actually more municipalities from my standpoint, because I think one of the biggest things that the production housing companies and industries trying to do is figure out how to, really solve attainable housing. That's one of the biggest issues that we're having right now, is that no one can buy a brand new home for less than $400,000, at least not in my market. And that's what we're really fighting for. So we're trying to figure out how to get tighter densities, smaller lots, more creative, more interesting product to at least start to solve this problem. But then we come up against municipalities where we can't have ADUs. I mean, there's a lot of places, as we were talking about that, I'm thinking, God, we can't even have those so many places. So yeah, I know, poor me. But so it's, there's still an uphill battle trying to get density in areas that just traditionally weren't meant to have those kinds of densities. So while everyone's kind of working towards that and trying to solve that problem, I think that there's still other issues to fight that we just got to kind of work our way through.
I was going to say, I think we were in an interesting position when we started doing passive house, in that we were a design build firm. So I was a contractor for 10 years, and I didn't need to convince anybody in the industry except my subs to do what I wanted, because we were just going to build it anyway. And now, being just an architecture and planning firm, it is much more about outreach. But I think the hardest part, at least in our demographic, has been done, because we already have done a lot of them. We already have subs who are excited about that kind of work. And I would say generally, I think it's perceived that architects think they're going to move the industry forward, because I think maybe we're just naturally egotistical jerks. But I do think that the trades move the industry forward, and I see huge adoption from tradesmen, because at least the ones I work with, the ones I respect and know, take a great deal of pride in what they do. And the minute you show a better way to do it, it's not even my idea anymore. They take it and run with it and improve upon it massively. And so I feel a really inordinately large amount of adoption from the trades. And they're partnering with us on the housing crisis so heavily, too. Like, they're voting for density. They're saying we need more housing. They're saying we need more affordable housing.
Well, I'm wondering how much of this is an influence that you're from Denver and you're from Seattle, two areas that are notoriously, well, that's the wrong word, that are known for embracing kind of an earth first, let's be smart about what we're doing. Michael, you have a vertically integrated business, so this might not be a good question for you, but in Chicago, where there is a long-standing history of how the construction industry works, I'm wondering, have you had a different experience than, say, what the other folks on the panel have
He
had?
means the mob.
Yes, I know them. I would piggyback on what Tessa was saying a little bit. As a design build firm, we have a better opportunity to, not control, but sort of demand the way we want things done. And it comes across much better when we incorporate our trade partners, right? We don't even call them subcontractors, right? And try to get their expertise, right? Our whole design build model is a little different than the traditional, design it up here, push it down, let this guy bid it, see how it goes, start cutting it up for value engineering as it goes down the road. We want to be a part of all of that. And we want to set the expectations from the beginning. And if we get our trade partners or experts to help us along the way, right? Here's what we're thinking about, or this is the technology you want to try, or, this is our first go at something sustainable. This is what I know about it. You're an expert in your insulation, or you're an expert in your, HVAC system. Do a little research, work with us. I find that they're more than embrace it. They're excited, right? They don't want to do the same thing over and over again. If you just send out a set of drawings and, say deal with it, they don't want to do that, right? But if you, show them their respect, they want to collaborate and they want to help move it forward, I think.
Well, and inevitably they become your design partners in
Exactly.
doing it better.
Right. We don't know every detail, I don't.
So I have one more question for the roundtable, then I think they're going to open up the bar over here. So do you feel that part of the solution to maintain marketplace appeal is in the innovation and future of construction techniques and practices? So Tessa, you had mentioned a little bit on this earlier in that we're trying to do things that make the building smarter and healthier, but that doesn't necessarily translate into the knowledge set of the people who are buying the product. And Seth, you had also said something along that line, that how do you educate the buyer when they're looking at two products, and this one was built a certain way that we think is sustainable and healthier and promotes a better lifestyle than this one that might cost less. How do you help educate the people on what we're doing and why there's value? And I'd like all of you to kind of talk about this, because I know sustainability is something that you're all passionate about. So how do you introduce this to the marketplace?
Well, obviously I come at this from a very different standpoint, just because I don't have that direct consumer connection. So for me, it's working with builders to do that. And unfortunately, in my shoes, oftentimes I'm relying on a builder to want to do that and to provide that. But I think from that standpoint, from a production builder standpoint, it's educating your sales team, educating the people, the first point of contact for consumers. But at the same time, I think, consumers are getting smart. Consumers are looking into all this. Consumers are reading about it. It's becoming more front of mind. And so technology in the homes, all of that's coming. And I think the whole healthy home movement, everyone is looking for a healthier lifestyle in general. So I think the healthy home movement is really, it's kind of like what Houzz and Pinterest have done to the housing market. People are getting educated on their own time and then bringing that to the professional, saying, I want this.
Yeah, it is uniquely market-driven, particularly in those places, like you said, Denver, Seattle, where we're practicing.
Not Chicago.
Sorry, Michael. But one thing, it's a build it and they will come scenario, right? Do the work, do it well, and then talk about it as much as you can, right? And I think that comes down to, your market penetration, your marketing plan. Are you opening up the home? Are you answering questions? Are you getting published? Those sorts of things move the whole industry forward.
In Chicago, any type of green movement, sustainability, for the most part, not any, is met with a lot of resistance. People just don't quite get it. We're not as progressive as some, those places, which I love both those places. But having the conversation, at least with people, is, sort of their first entry, and then they consider, if they want to be involved. But I think what Tessa said is sort of the platform we're using our opportunity with Professional Builder for, right? So we get to stand on a pedestal, build a showcase home. You know, I'm learning more now and trying to collaborate with Tessa a little bit on, you know, some of these sustainable techniques, and we're going to try to implement as much as we can into this home, and then, you know, use that platform to educate everyone and say, this is how we should be building from now on. Let's at least take some of these pieces and make them standards. So that's how we're trying to actually make a move, you know, and start getting education out to everybody.
Wonderful. All right, I'd like to thank my three panelists today, Michael, Tessa, Seth. Thank you for joining us. I'd also like to thank Professional Builder for hosting the panel here, the Next Gen Perspectives, here at the Show Village. So thanks, everyone. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.